Evening, Simo's here again. I was going to hot smoke that salmon tonight, but I didn't because it was raining, and obviously a little gas stove in the rain won't work very well. So I'm going to do that tomorrow. It'll be okay, it'll be safe to do tomorrow. If you hear some clicking it back, it's the dog walking behind my chair. So tonight I'm going to talk to you about raising agents, i.e. sourdough, yeast, things like that, bread improver and all that sort of thing, flours and things like that. So I'm going to teach you about that, and then tomorrow I'm going to do the smoked salmon thing, the hot smoked salmon, and then next I think we're going to do some bread. I think we'll do a sourdough loaf. But if we talk about the sourdough starter first. Okay, we'll start with the starter. That sounds about right, doesn't it? So here I have my starter. It's all bubbly and nice and bubbly inside, and one thing or another, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. I don't know if you can see that. I don't tip it out. There you go. It's all bubbly inside and all nice. Now a starter dough will last forever. It'll last forever. All you got to do is keep feeding it. It's like a pet. You got to feed it with flour. Now you feed it with two types of flour as far as I'm concerned, and that's granary flour, not granary flour, sorry, wholemeal flour, and white flour. I feed mine with white flour. Now you've got to feed it regular. So first of all, you can slow it down by putting it in the fridge. You can keep it in the fridge, and you don't feed it as often, but you've got to keep feeding it, otherwise it just dies and goes horrible and terrible. It's just like having a pet, really. And there is actually hotels for sourdoughs where people send the sourdoughs when they go on holiday and they look after them for them. It's quite, you know, and like, I think the oldest sourdough is something like 125-year-old, 150-year-old. But it dates back thousands of years, and sourdough bread is supposed to be better for you than yeast bread, yeah? Bread made with yeast. So sourdough, to make a sourdough is very, very easy. It's the easiest thing on the planet to do because there's yeast everywhere. So basically what you do is you get a jar, you sterilise it by putting hot water in it basically, yeah? Or you can stick it in the microwave if it's got no metal on it. You sterilise it better doing it with hot water. Put hot water in and leave it in for a bit, and then tip it out and then it's sterilised. It's as good as. Make sure it's not an old jar that's being used for something else. It's not tainted, because if you do that, it's going to make all your bread taste. So, making a starter, you want 100 grams of water, 100 grams of flour, yeah, just white bread flour. It's got to be bread flour, because the thing is with bread flour, it's high in protein. Stronger, when you see it and it says extra strong bread flour, it means it's got lots of protein in it. It's got more protein than normal bread flour. So you need some high protein flour, or just normal bread flour will do. That's all that's in there, just normal bread flour. So you put your water in, just like tepid water, room temperature water. Yeah, that's all you need to start with. You put cold in after that, but for first session you just need basically just room temperature water. Put it in your jar, 100 grams of each, 100 grams of flour, mix it well, and just leave it with the lid open for a bit. Now the yeast comes out the air. Don't put no yeast in anything, it comes out the air, that's all it is. There's yeast everywhere. You're breathing it, you're seeing it, it's all, well, you don't see it, but it's everywhere. Excuse me. But you can see it on, if you see grapes or plums, yeah, and they've got that white stuff outside, that's yeast. Because you can actually put that in the flour, the mixture. You put grapes in the mixture to grow the yeast off the grapes into the flour and water to make your sourdough. You can actually do that. It makes it a bit quicker. But just leave the lid off for overnight or something to make sure there's no flies getting, and just leave the lid off, let some air in. There's enough air, and then just shut it up basically and leave it for a few days, and it'll start bubbling. When it starts bubbling, that's the time to start feeding it and looking after it, and then you've got your pet. basically. So you need to put like equal amounts of flour and water in every time you feed it. Now, one thing that'll happen is if you don't make a bread with it eventually, once it gets all bubbly and nice and really bubbly, then it's time to make bread with it. So you've got to make sure you've got enough to make your bread. I'll go on about recipes at a later date. You've got to make sure you've got enough to make your bread. There's enough you need to make a loaf of bread. Me and Gillian don't need much more than that. Just make a loaf of bread. And then basically, that's it really. It does us for a few days. So, yeah, right. But one thing that'll happen is, like I said, there's yeast everywhere. It's in the air and everything. You breathe it, you sleep with it, everything. So you use the natural yeast to make the sourdough. Because it's called sourdough, it isn't very sour. It's a bit of a misconception, really. Call it sourdough, because it really isn't. It's supposed to be better for you as a sourdough bread than yeast bread, apparently. So that's basically a sourdough. Now you make your sourdough, and when it's all bubbly, you keep feeding it. Now one thing that'll happen is you'll get an excess of it. Now when you get an excess, you can either make bread with it, but you can make other things with it as well. You can make croissants, sourdough croissants, you can make sourdough pancakes, you can make sourdough bread, you can make sourdough tea cakes, you can make sourdough fruit bread, you can make sourdough lots of things. It's not just, you don't just use a sourdough for bread. You can use it for anything. You can use pancakes and anything. So that's sourdough. Now, you can get additives to add to your bread to make things. I wouldn't do it with sourdough bread. When you make your sourdough bread, I'll tell you a bit more about it later. Most of the rising is done in the oven. It's not like when you make it with yeast where it rises up big and you have to knock it back and things like that. You have to leave it for a bit, but you don't leave it for too long, because the bacteria that cause from the yeast eats protein. So it will eat your sourdough loaf away. So if you leave it too long, it will actually eat your loaf of bread, basically. Well, your dough, not your loaf of bread, but your dough. But so if you leave it too long, it won't. When you take it out of the oven, it won't be risen enough, because basically your bacteria from your sourdough is eating all the protein from your flour. So there you go. So that's that. Now. Next thing is bread improver and vitamin C powder. Vitamin C powder, that's vitamin C powder. This is bread improver. I don't use them much, just now and again. I know to experiment with something new. This is bread improver. Now bread improver and vitamin C powder help make it rise, your bread. But you don't, like I say, I won't use it with sourdough, you just use it with yeast. And you've got to be careful what you do with it. Now vitamin C powder, they're usually commercial bread. If you buy a Warburton stuff, it'll have vitamin C powder in. Now it can have health benefits, but they're not allowed to advertise it by law that it has health benefits, because it's not classed as a health food in bread. So, but there you go. So them's additives. I'll not go too much into them, because that's it. I have them because I've experimented with them, but I don't use them. Now yeast, you can get dried yeast, you can get dried yeast, and you can also get fresh yeast. Now the best place to get fresh yeast is Morrison's supermarket. You get a pack of 4 blocks. Now you can freeze it, so if you're not going to use it straight away, just take off what you need and then freeze it and just use it from the freezer, and it still works. It don't kill it, even though it's a living thing. It doesn't actually kill it off or anything. Because of it's sticky, but other than that, it's okay. You can still use it, frozen yeast. So you just basically defrost it and use it as much as or as little as you want. So that's that. Now dried yeast, you can get it from supermarkets, fairly cheap. You get own brands and things like this. And these are 7 gram packets. Yeah, it's usually 7 gram that's in there, which is plenty to make probably 2 loaves of bread. Now, you can get 2 loaves of bread. Now, one of the problems I had with flour and yeast Now, one of the reasons why I make bread is for my mental health, to help with mental health. Yeah, that's why I started doing it. Now, part of my therapy when I was ill with mental health was making bread. And you have to excuse the dog walking around. Like I say, I just let the dog out, so that's why I'm a little bit of a break. So one of my hobbies is making bread. I enjoy doing it. It gives me a lot of pleasure and it helps with my mental health. Yeah. So, with the COVID-19, everybody started buying all the flour and the yeast and everything from the supermarkets and shops and everything, so you couldn't get it for love nor money, as you're probably all aware. So desperate times mean desperate measures. So I bought a 16 kilo bag of bread flour from a merchant that supplies bakeries, and also a bag of yeast. This one, bag of yeast from a thing. That's half a kilo. That's 500 grams. Half a kilo. That's what half a kilo of yeast looks like. I've used some of it, like, but there you go. Now you can store that in the fridge as long as it's in an airtight jar, so the moisture don't get in, because that'll set yeast off. As soon as moisture gets in, whether it's hot or cold, it'll set yeast off. So, which we'll come back into in a minute. So I got the bag of flour that they're using in the bakeries. I got the bag of yeast that they're using in the bakeries. Now it takes some using to 16 kilo of flour. I'm making my way through it. I'm having a go. And it makes quite nice Yorkshire puddings as well. You can use it for Yorkshire puddings, which is good. It's really nice Yorkshire puddings. It lasts me a long time, and it lasts for a long time, so long as you keep it out of the away from moisture. So that's yeast. So, like I say, you get fresh yeast from Morrison's, and you can freeze it, and that. So it is good. You keep the jar of fresh yeast, the jar of baker's yeast in the oven now. Not in the oven, sorry, in the fridge. So, if you notice something about this, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but it's finer than the stuff that you get from supermarkets. Now I tend to use 10 gram of that instead of 7, and it does the job lovely, really good. Now, there's nothing to stop you putting a bit of yeast in with your bread mix, not in with your jar of sourdough, but in your bread mix. There's nothing to stop you putting it in there when you're making bread, a little bit of yeast to help it rise. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. It helps it rise. So I'll tell you a bit more about that when we actually do the bread side of it. But there's nothing better than crusty bread. Yeah. I'm telling you all this because if you want to follow what I'm doing, it gives you a chance to get things sorted and get your sourdough on the way, and get some decent yeast and some, because supermarkets are still struggling to get stock. So we're going to talk about flours now, not flours that you plant in your garden, flours that you make bread with and bake with. So I don't know. I'll start with the beginning because a lot of people might not even have never probably baked or done anything. Self-raising flour is flour with raising agent in it, usually baking powder. Flour, there's different types of flour, as everybody knows, but some people might not know much about flour because it might be the first time. So I'll tell you a little bit about different flours. There's plain flour, which is just as it says on the can or a bag, plain flour. Then you've got self-raising flour, which has got a raising agent in it, usually baking powder. But you can make self-raising flour if you run out by just putting baking powder in it. It's just the same. That's simple. That's all it is. Plain flour with baking powder in. A lot of bakeries don't even buy self-raising flour. They just buy plain flour all the time, or bread flour, and they stick some raising agent into it, and off they go. So they only buy plain flour. So yeah, so that's two types of flour for you. Now if you're making buns and things like that, you use self-raising flour, and if you're using it to make Yorkshire puddings, you use plain flour or bread flour, which is this bread flour I've got, makes really nice Yorkshire puddings. Yeah. So Then you go on to bread flours. You get basic bread flour. Then you can buy extra strong bread flour, which is higher protein, like I explained earlier on. The higher the protein, the more that your yeast and your sourdough or starter will feed off. You know, the more active they'll be. That's basically how it works. The higher the protein, the more your stuff will get, your yeast will get fed, or your starter will get fed, and the more your bread will rise, basically. Yeah. So that excuse the dog barking outside. I don't know what he's barking at, but there you go. That's part of being living in a house and working from home. But there you go. It won't be no different way. Better for working in an office or anything. I prefer working from home, to be honest. So there you go. Any questions? Put them in the remarks column. Next time I'll be doing tomorrow. All being well, if it's dry, I'll be out in the garden, hot smoking this salmon. It's quite preserved, so it's all right till tomorrow. It's got salt and sugar and all sorts on it, and garlic. So, yeah, looking forward to that one. So, just to let you know that this isn't for money, what I'm doing now. It's just basically for my mental health. Like I said before, I used to be an entertainer for 23 years. Started with mental health problems, and now I do this. And it's helping me. So today, I'm a lot better than I was earlier on this morning. I'm doing this. I'm talking to you a lot. Yeah, I enjoy talking to you a lot. So, all being well, tomorrow or Saturday, possibly Saturday or Sunday, I'll let you know. I'm going to do a live, so you'll be able to message me live. Probably do it Sunday. It might be better Sunday when everybody's at home and things like that, and not going out and what have you. So Sunday, I'm going to go live. It'll be the first time I've done it, so you're welcome to join me. I'll be doing it for an hour, probably Sunday afternoon, about 2 o'clock-ish, I think. Give you all a chance to have your Sunday dinner. So, if there's any particular times, put them in the comments and things like that. But I'll go live and try and answer your questions live. Like I say, I'm not a chef. I'm a home cook. I'm not a master baker, but I've learnt a lot of skills. And all I'm trying to do is teach you my skills that I've learnt over the years and things I've learnt over the years. And let you know the trial and error of things, where things can go wrong as well. So yeah, been a lot of trial and error, a lot of stuff in the bin over the years where things have gone wrong. So if you want to join me, feel free. I've also set up a Patreon site as well. I don't know much about it really. I'm just starting to embrace technology. So I'll let you know more about that as and when. You might even know more about that better than me. So yeah. So like I say, I'm not a chef. I'm only a cook. I do cook things and do things and trial and error. Get to know how to do things and then just do it. That's all I do. So, but it's taken me years to get to where I am. A lot of research. So if you want to join me on Sunday afternoon, I'll be doing a live thing about 2 o'clock Sunday afternoon. But if you want it later, just let me know. I'm going to have a live chat thing. That's it. Thank you very much. So don't forget to like and share my channel with your friends and relations. Helps it, boosts it. That's it. And that's all I want to do. Just keep people entertained. Just keep people happy. And chat to you all and show you all the things that I've learnt over the years. Okay. So you lot take care, keep smiling, love and peace, take care, and God bless.